Hello, and welcome to Sleep Stories World. I'd like to invite you to step into a world of relaxation and tranquility with this bedtime story, designed to help you unwind and de-stress. By engaging in this story, you can embark on a journey that nurtures and soothes your mind, promoting overall well-being through sound, restful sleep. Before we begin, let's prepare your space for rest. Ensure you're somewhere comfortably cool, dark, and quiet. If you need to adjust anything, your curtains, your temperature, your pillows, please do so now. When you're ready, lie down and let yourself settle into your bed. Feel the weight of your body being supported. You may want to cover yourself with a light blanket as your body relaxes. Now, gently close your eyes. There's nothing you need to see anymore tonight. Your only task now is to be here, allowing yourself to receive the gift of rest. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Breathe in deeply, feeling your chest expand. Breathe out, feeling your body sink deeper into your bed. In and out. With each breath, you're signaling to your body that it's safe to rest. Now, imagine being surrounded by a warm, vibrant light. This light is gentle and comforting, carrying with it a deep sense of peace and safety. As you breathe in, let this warm light fill your chest. As you breathe out, imagine it spreading gently through your upper body. Breathe in, and let the light expand through your shoulders, your arms, your back. Breathe out, and feel it filling your stomach, your neck, your head, every space within you glowing softly. If a thought comes by, acknowledge it like watching a leaf float by on a gentle stream, and then let it drift away. There will be time for those thoughts later. Now is for rest. On your next breath in, let the warm light travel downward. Feel it reach your hips, your thighs, your knees. Breathe out, and sense it flowing down to your ankles, to your toes. Every part of you now is surrounded by this gentle, warm glow. You are completely enveloped in comfort and peace. Focus on your breath and the warm light surrounding you. If your mind wanders, simply guide it back, gently, to your breath, to the light. You are safe. You are comfortable. You are exactly where you need to be. As we move into tonight's story, allow yourself to let go even more. Let the words wash over you like a gentle tide. You don't need to follow every detail. Simply receive the story as a gift, a soft companion as you journey toward sleep. And now, let us begin. The Arctic is not empty. It has never been empty. For thousands of years, long before written records, long before the arrival of explorers from southern lands, people have lived in the Arctic. They have not merely survived. They have thrived, creating cultures, languages, technologies, and ways of life perfectly adapted to one of Earth's most challenging environments. Today, approximately 4 million people live in the Arctic region. Of these, roughly 10%, about 400,000 individuals, are indigenous peoples belonging to more than 40 different ethnic groups. They include the Inuit of Canada, Greenland, and Alaska, the Sami of northern Scandinavia and Russia, the Nenets, Yakuts, and Chuki of Siberia, and many others, each with their own distinct languages, traditions, and histories. These peoples have accumulated knowledge over countless generations, knowledge about ice conditions, weather patterns, animal behavior, and seasonal changes. This knowledge is not written in books. It is passed down through stories, through observation, through lived experience. It is knowledge embedded in language itself. The Inuit languages, for example, have multiple words for different types of snow and ice, not because they find snow exotic or fascinating, but because distinctions matter for survival. Qulliq is the crystalline snow that forms beneath the surface, the kind that caribou can dig through to reach vegetation. Siku is sea ice in general, but Chinyu specifically means slushy ice forming in the sea, while qulliq is freshwater ice that is clear and strong enough to drink. These are not mere vocabulary exercises. They are survival tools. Knowing which type of ice is safe to walk on, which snow is suitable for building, which ice formation indicates a seal's breathing hole, this knowledge has kept people alive for millennia. The relationship between Arctic peoples and their environment is one of deep interdependence. The land and sea provide everything needed for life: food, shelter, clothing, tools, fuel. But the environment demands respect, attention, and adaptability in return. Traditional Arctic dwellings reflect this relationship. The igloo, from the Inuit word ilu, simply meaning house, is perhaps the most famous Arctic shelter. Built from blocks of wind-packed snow, a properly constructed igloo is a marvel of engineering and thermal efficiency. Snow is an excellent insulator. The air trapped between snow crystals slows the transfer of heat. A well-built igloo, even without any internal heat source, will be warmer inside than outside simply because it blocks the wind and traps still air. But with body heat and a small oil lamp called a qulliq, that's qulliq, the interior temperature of an igloo can reach 10 to 20 degrees Celsius, 50 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, even when the outside air is -40. The temperature difference can be 50 or 60 degrees, a difference between freezing and comfortable, created by nothing more than shaped snow, body heat, and a small flame. The construction technique matters enormously. Blocks must be cut from the right type of snow, wind-packed snow that is dense and strong. The blocks are laid in a spiral, each one tilted slightly inward, creating a dome that is self-supporting. The final block, the key block, is placed from inside, completing the structure. A small entrance tunnel is built below floor level, creating a cold trap. Cold air, being denser, sinks into the tunnel, while warmer air remains in the living space above. This simple design feature dramatically improves the interior temperature. The qulliq, the traditional lamp, is another example of ingenious technology. Carved from soapstone, the qulliq burns seal oil or whale blubber, providing both heat and light. The flame is controlled by adjusting the wick, traditionally made from Arctic cotton or moss, and by trimming the flame's height and width. In skilled hands, the qulliq provides a steady, controllable heat source that can last for hours without attention. It can be used for cooking, for melting ice into drinking water, for drying wet clothing, and for providing light during the dark winter months. Clothing, too, reflects generations of accumulated knowledge. Traditional Arctic clothing is made from animal skins and furs: caribou, seal, polar bear, Arctic fox, bird skins, each chosen for specific properties and used in specific ways. Caribou hide is particularly valued. The individual hairs of caribou fur are hollow, filled with air, making them extraordinarily light and insulating. A caribou skin parka can weigh less than 2 kilograms, about 4 pounds, yet provide warmth in temperatures of -40 degrees or colder. But the construction is as important as the material. Traditional parkas use 2 layers, an inner layer with fur facing inward against the skin, and an outer layer with fur facing outward. This creates an insulating airspace between the layers while also managing moisture. Warm, moist air from the body can escape through tiny gaps in the stitching, preventing the dangerous accumulation of moisture that would reduce insulation and eventually freeze. The design includes other sophisticated features. Hoods are large and fur-lined, protecting the face from wind. Sleeves are cut to allow freedom of movement while minimizing exposed skin. The parka extends well below the waist, protecting vital organs. Every element serves a purpose. There is no decoration without function. In recent decades, researchers have tested traditional Arctic clothing against modern synthetic materials in controlled conditions. The results consistently show that well-made traditional clothing performs as well as or better than the most advanced modern gear. This represents thousands of years of iterative design, each generation making small improvements until arriving at something close to optimal. Traditional hunting practices also reflect deep understanding of animal behavior and ecology. Inuit hunters have observed and recorded caribou migration patterns for centuries, knowing precisely when herds will pass through certain valleys or cross certain rivers. They have documented the seasonal movements of seals, the behavior of polar bears, the locations where certain fish spawn. This knowledge includes details that Western scientists have only recently begun to appreciate. For example, traditional knowledge has long held that bowhead whales, massive Arctic whales that can live more than 200 years, return to the same feeding areas year after year, sometimes across multiple generations. Scientific research using satellite tags and genetic analysis has confirmed this, but indigenous hunters knew it from direct observation across centuries. Similarly, indigenous peoples have long understood that ice conditions are connected to ocean currents, wind patterns, and weather systems in complex ways. They have observed that certain wind directions produce certain types of ice formation, that the ice behaves differently at different times of the moon cycle, that changes in one part of the system affect distant areas. This holistic understanding, this recognition that everything is connected, is perhaps the most important aspect of traditional Arctic knowledge. The Arctic is not seen as a collection of separate elements, ice, animals, weather, land, sea, but as an integrated whole where every part affects every other part. Today, this traditional knowledge is increasingly recognized as valuable not only for indigenous communities but for understanding broader environmental changes. As the Arctic warms faster than any other region on Earth, indigenous peoples are observing changes in ice patterns, animal behavior, and weather that may provide early warnings of larger transformations. They have noted that sea ice forms later in autumn and breaks up earlier in spring. They have observed changes in caribou migration routes, in the distribution of fish species, in the frequency of storms. These observations, accumulated over lifetimes and shared across communities, provide a form of monitoring that scientific instruments alone cannot replicate. The traditional practices of Arctic peoples represent humanity's longest-running experiment in sustainable living in an extreme environment. For thousands of years, communities have taken what they needed from the environment while maintaining the health of animal populations and the integrity of ecosystems. This required careful management, social rules about harvest levels, and a deep understanding of population dynamics. The relationship is not romantic or mystical, it is practical. People learned through necessity, through trial and error spanning generations, through close observation and careful thought. They learned which animals to hunt and which to leave alone, when to harvest and when to wait, how much could be taken without depleting future resources. This knowledge continues to evolve. Arctic indigenous peoples today use GPS, snowmobiles, modern rifles, and smartphones alongside traditional knowledge and practices. The combination of old wisdom and new technology allows them to maintain their connection to the land while adapting to changing conditions. As we think about the Arctic, about this frozen realm we have explored through these segments, it is important to remember that it is not a wilderness untouched by humans. It is home. It has been home for longer than we can trace. The people who live there have shaped it and been shaped by it, creating a relationship with the cold, the ice, and the darkness that is both practical and profound. Let this knowledge settle into your thoughts, the understanding that humans, too, are part of the Arctic ecosystem, that we are capable of living in balance with even the most challenging environments when we pay attention, when we adapt, when we learn from the land itself. Breathe slowly. Let your breath be as steady as the patient accumulation of knowledge across generations, calm, peaceful, continuous.